I want to know if you ever consider buying Bitcoin as a physician, healthcare providers, nurse practitioners, physician assistants. I bought Bitcoin early in 2020. I made millions of dollars and I still own Bitcoins. I barely sold 2 years ago as a stupid, because I was stupid, like literally like weak hands. Only weak hands will sell Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, it provides pure liquidity to your life. It's the most liquid asset that you can ever have in your hands. It's the only asset in your life that is gonna be your own. You're gonna own something that nobody can take away. And the reason is because if you own real estate, it's stupid, because real estate doesn't have return on investment, number one. Real estate is good when you purchase 100%. When you get a loan and then they just finance and you can hold it, depreciate against your income taxes. But Bitcoin is the only one that is going to be yours. It can cross borders. It can provide liquidity right away. It's global. You can pull loans against it. You don't need to sell it ever again. I mean, it's something that you can give to your kids. Nobody can tax Bitcoin. If they want to create a property tax against Bitcoin, you just move to Monaco. You just move to Switzerland. You go to Dubai. It doesn't matter. Bitcoin is the strongest asset ever created. I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't own a 401k. I don't own a Roth IRA. I don't own any fucking stupidity from financial advisor. I own Bitcoin. And then the reason why I own is because I learned from early beginnings when I grew up in Argentina that inflation, it will literally eat your assets, eat your stocks, eat your bonds, eat your real estate, Bitcoin is the only thing that has been growing 100%, 60% a year, because it has strong qualities. They can replicate Bitcoin. They can create more Bitcoins. It has a limited amount of tokens. That's the magic. That's what it makes it the most strong asset ever. It's unbelievable why people don't get it. I mean, if you don't own Bitcoin, I mean, it doesn't matter what is the price. You gotta own it. Is the acquisition of assets is the most beautiful thing for men in the history. People love to acquire. It's orgasmic. Like, you need to own assets. I can't believe people don't fucking own anything. I mean, I'm gonna give you a rundown. What is Bitcoin? It sounds stupid that I'm making a video. I'm recording a video for physicians, which is considered the top 1% of the population, that they don't understand basics. It's unbelievable. I had a friend far away. We always talk about the market, basically macroeconomics, the Fed rate, the interest rate, the liquidity, the money market funds. We kind of like know all the numbers. And then one time, I think like 2 years ago, I told him like, hey, why you don't buy Bitcoin and you just trade Bitcoin from another platform outside of the United States? I mean, I was just like giving him an idea. And then he says, no, Bitcoin, it can be hacked. Like, it's too risky. I mean, basic concepts, dude. Like, you don't fucking understand basic concept is because you haven't even spent 10 hours of reading or researching. I mean, hedge funds, rich people are buying Bitcoin, and then you are a fucking poor nobody, and then you're so arrogant to say like stupid things that they have no fundamentals. I mean, no fundamentals. It's unbelievable how people can be so arrogant. Bitcoin is a centralized digital tokens. It's a network. There is no control by any government or corporation. It has a fixed supply of 21 million coins or tokens. That's what is the most beautiful thing ever, because it's a fixed supply. Nobody's going to be able to print more, create more, or alter the network. Meaning that it's immune to inflationary printing. Like, the horrible thing, everything in society that is going downhill is because they're printing more money. Paper is destroying families, is destroying cultures, is destroying health, is destroying your life, your beauty. And I'm gonna give you an example. Go to Venezuela, go to Argentina, go to Brazil. You're gonna see communities are fucking destroyed. Their families are collapsing because of the inflationary printing of paper. Amount of paper in the streets makes everything unaffordable, because money doesn't mean wealth. You can have trillions and trillions of dollars, but you're never gonna have wealth, because wealth is operating companies, is the abundance of water, is abundance of milk, is the abundance of metal, abundance of buildings, windows, cars, rockets. That's wealth. Money is not equal wealth. Okay? What it means that you can have trillions and trillions of paper in your bank, but you will be not able to buy something that you need to, like, that you want or you can afford. Money is not wealth. Okay? You have 21 million tokens or coins that there's not going to be anymore. There's a schedule that are releasing or mining the rest of the coins. It's built in a blockchain technology. It's public. It's a transparent ledger. Every time that I do a transaction from my wallets to another wallet, everybody can verify my transaction. Everybody can verify the amount of Bitcoin that I have. Everybody can verify everything. So that means, like, everybody can audit any transaction, any corporation, any personal account, okay? The blockchain technology is something that I understood right away. The reason why is because I grew up in a third world country and we used to download movies from torrents. Torrents it was a network of computers that they were uploading and then downloading the movies, right? So at that time, copywriting, it was very heavy in the United States. There was a federal government investigating who was uploading movies to the web, who was downloading, especially in the United States. They tried to shut down torrents, but it was impossible because it was just random computers using VPN in Afghanistan, India, Egypt, Argentina, Brazil. There was just people uploading to the web and then people downloading, right? So when I understood that, I was like, fuck, nobody can destroy torrents. And then later, when Bitcoin, the blockchain, everything, it came to me, and then I was just curious about it. I was curious. I was poor, but I was curious. That's what you need to do. I know that you're poor, but you got to be curious, right? You got to understand. Don't be arrogant. You need to understand basic concept of society and life, okay? Imagine a financial system where no one can manipulate the supply. That would be wonderful, because who manipulates the price of money? The Federal Reserve. They put price on money. That's why the interest rate is. The interest rate is the price of money. They print, they reduce, they increase the monetary supply, they reduce it, they increase it, they shake you down. They shake you down because everybody is levered. Everybody's like freaking leveraged to the max. Everybody's on credit cards, everybody's on loans. So they just manipulate the market. Not central banks, not politicians gonna manipulate the supply, and it runs 24/7. It's something that you can have liquidity right away, Saturday evening, Sunday, any holidays. Bitcoin can give you liquidity right away, any day, anywhere in the planet. Tomorrow, if you have to leave United States and go to Japan, you can liquidate your Bitcoins in Japan and have liquidity of anything. You need to buy tomatoes in Japan, cheese, a house, or even medicine. You can liquidate your Bitcoin in Japan anytime. That's the most beautiful thing. It's global. It's the first time that we have a limited supply personal asset, very transparent, and is global. I mean, it's unbelievable. And people still think like, oh, Bitcoin's gonna be hacked. You know what can be hacked? A data center, it can be hacked. Okay? Your Wells Fargo account, your Bank of America can be hacked. Why Bitcoin cannot be hacked? The reason is because Bitcoin is secured by millions of computers worldwide. The number of miners that they mine Bitcoin, it's part of the network. That's the skeleton of the network. It's global. It's people computers that we know, they're mining Bitcoin, probably 600,000, 700. Probably there's another 500,000 that they use random BPM that they run Bitcoin. The reason is because there's some government's persecution in some of the countries, so people don't want to. They want to be like anonymous, and they run Bitcoins with a BPM. And then it can be in Afghanistan, it can be in anywhere in the world, and that's the network. They're protecting your network. Those miners, they're in India, Afghanistan, in Europe. They're protecting your network. It's millions. Nobody's going to hack millions of computers at the same time for more than 10 minutes because every blockchain block is 10 minutes. You need to hold your hack for 10 minutes of all the computers in freaking Australia, Argentina, everything at the same time. Everybody can hack the data center of Wells Fargo, Bank of America in San Francisco, California, right? But nobody's going to hack. The algorithm that Bitcoin uses, a 256, is one of the strongest ones, one of the longest ones. Plus all the millions of computers. Oh no, but Bitcoin can be hacked. I heard that Bitcoin was never hacked. The network runs for 15, 16 years without any single failure. The hacking that you heard about it was the platform or the exchange that people use to buy and sell Bitcoin. There's nothing to do with Bitcoin, right? Don't be so stupid. Any attempt to rewrite Bitcoin history will require more computing power than exists in the world. Why? Pay attention to this. Be a little bit more humble and pay attention. Why there's not going to be another Bitcoin? Why Bitcoin is the only one and there's going to be no one else? And the reason is because this is what I learned from Michael Saylor. Saylor, he explained it so well. If another Bitcoin is created, and we know that it's going to be the next Bitcoin, hackers will definitely hack that protocol right away. Because the number of miners there's going to be in a year and 2 years of the new Bitcoin is going to be so tiny that hackers will have the computer system to hack the new Bitcoin. When hackers realized that Bitcoin had value, it was too late. It was already 6 years, 7 years. And the network at that time, it was so big because it grew organically. And the network was so big that it was already impossible to hack. If another company or another human being, another Satoshi Nakamoto decide to create another Bitcoin, it will definitely be hacked in year number 1 in the next 6 months, right? So that's why Bitcoin is the only one, is the strongest asset. Bitcoin is like the internet of money, always on, always secure, and a censorship resistant. The reason is because it's the only asset that it's impossible to be confiscated by the federal government, the police. You can go to jail for 30 years and then keep your keys safe. And then when you get out of jail, you just live your life or give the keys to your kids and then let your kids flee United States and then be happy in Thailand. It's just Bitcoin qualities: scarcity, scarcity, scarcity. It's something that if you're born in a third world country, you will understand what a scarcity is. What is scarcity of water, electricity, milk, basic stuff of life. Scarcity is power. Scarcity is equal value. Scarcity is wealth. Bitcoin is portable. What asset in the world is so portable, more than portable than Bitcoin? It's gold portable? Is US stocks portable? Think about it. Why people want their green card, why people want their social security, why hedge funds from outside of United States, the fees are so expensive, because some Europeans or Latin Americans or Saudis, they want to buy US stocks, but they can't. They need to use another hedge fund that it has US stocks access, and then they charge you huge amount of fees, right? You can buy S&P 500 from Italy, yeah, but you gotta pay. You gotta pay high fees to have just a little bit of exposure to the S&P 500. Bitcoin is portable. You can trade. You can do whatever you want. You can buy Bitcoin from Italy. You can buy Bitcoin from Australia. It's global. It's portable. You can't move paper stocks of United States if you want to move to another country, right? You can't move gold. You can't move real estate. Understand that Bitcoin is divisible. You can't pay bread and butter with the bar of gold. You can't. What are you going to do? You can't pay food with real estate. Bitcoin is divisible. Bitcoin give you immediately liquidity. You can buy whatever you want. You can go to any country. You can cross borders. Bitcoin doesn't have any borders. It's durable. Bitcoin is a software, it's technology. And thanks to all the miners that are everywhere, that it protects your network. If all the freaking World War III an atomic bomb destroy all the satellites in space, if there's a 50 MP attacks all over the world, it's gonna be one guy in the Middle East, in Africa, inside of his closet with a computer, with a hydroelectric pump outside, creating a tiny bit of energy. He's gonna keep the ledger alive. Everybody's gonna die. All the assets that you have is gonna disappear, but Bitcoin's still gonna be alive, because it's gonna be one psychopath running the network inside, hiding himself in the closet. Even though if that guy dies, whenever who has the software is gonna turn it on and Bitcoin is gonna be alive again. And all the documents and the ledgers are gonna be the same as before. You're gonna own your Bitcoin anyway, even though everything explode. So just understand the value of these qualities. You can verify Bitcoin every transaction. It's very transparent. It's do you even know how much gold do we have? Do you even know how much stocks do we have of a specific company? By the time that you go to sleep and you wake up, they print more stocks. You don't have any control of that. On top of that, Bitcoin is a real commodity. It's an asset. When you own stocks, you depend on legislation from the country, legislation from the Commerce Department, legislation from the deals that every country has with each other, the CEO, the board, the customers, the competition. It's insane. I mean, Bitcoin is a real asset. Bitcoin is independent. It's not centralized control. There's no gatekeepers. There's nobody in the middle. It's just mathematics. Gold was the best money for centuries. Bitcoin is the new gold. It's the upgraded for the digital age. Bitcoin is the most precious asset that you can buy. You as a physician, if you don't own 5, 10, 20 Bitcoins, you're gonna be like fucking poor. It's sad. Especially if you have kids. If you have kids, I mean, I will literally buy like 3, 4 Bitcoins for each of my kids. But what is the problem? The problem is like you're arrogant, and then you think that your financial advisor is the guy who is going to save your life and give you a retirement plan. You think that the U.S. stocks or the CEO of Amazon, Apple is going to save your life. You're delegating the future of your kids to somebody else. Bitcoin is the solution. Bitcoin based on traditional assets. I have this simple graph just to give you an idea. I'm not gonna go too deep on this, but let's compare Bitcoin with the S&P 500. In 10 years of returning investment, Bitcoin went up 20,000% versus 167%. So you can definitely see that Bitcoin literally destroyed the S&P 500. So, and then if you had $100,000 5 years ago, and you bought Bitcoin, today's day you will have $637,000. 5 years ago, which is yesterday, right? If you had 100,000, you bought $100,000 in Bitcoin. Today's day, you will have 637,000. If you bought $100,000 in S&P 500, today's day, you will have $175,000. Unbelievable. Gold. Bitcoin the last 10 years, it went up 20,000%. Gold, it went up 109. If you put $100,000 in Bitcoin 5 years ago, today's day, you will have, again, $637,000. In gold, you will have $133,000. 5 years. 5 years to make just $33,000. How much it went up the toilet paper, the toothpaste, the AC services, the internet, the commodities, the services. How much it went up in the last 5 years? Probably like 60%, right? So this $33,000 extra in gold is nothing. You end up losing. You're losing money. If you buy gold, you lose money. Because in an inflationary world, if you're not growing at 20% a year, inflation is eating you, eating your life. You need to grow 20% a year in order to survive. You need to be 20% better in your health. You need to be 20% better in your income. You need to be 20% better in your investments. You have to be 20% better in every aspect of your life just to survive. Because inflation destroys people's life, destroy your economy. That's why when you go to a third world country, people is fat, ugly, bald, diseases, people die. People are not in dialysis in a third world country because there's no dialysis center, there's no dialysis filters, because everything is unaffordable. People die. When you go to a third world country, people have, their faces are depressed because there is depression. Because they live in a tiny freaking studio apartment or a house with their grandparents, with their parents, and their kids, and all live together. Some people will call it happiness, but it actually is the destruction of society, right? And when you go to other third world countries, you will see that the paper in the streets are abundant. There's abundance of money, right? Because the inflation every year, it's just 100%, 100%, 100%, and it's impossible to catch up with those numbers. It's impossible. They literally destroy your life with paper. They don't need bullets, they need paper. Bitcoin versus a 10-year US bond. In the last 10 years, return on investment, 20,000%. I already told you. What is the return on investment of US bonds? 17%, nothing. If you put 100,000 5 years ago, today's day, you will have $637,000 of Bitcoin. If you put $100,000 in US bonds, today's day, you have 108. Nothing. You're literally losing money. 5 years ago, with this $100,000, you can renovate your entire house, right? And maybe make a pool in the back. Maybe pay your daughter's wedding, right? Today's date, what can you do with $108,000? You can build a jacuzzi in the back. But you're not gonna build a pool in the back with the jacuzzi, neither replace the windows of your house. Why? The nominal numbers, it seems like it went up, but actually you're losing money because you don't have purchasing power. You need to understand common sense. Like it's unbelievable. This is the easiest, like, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to tell you exactly, this is not a financial advisor, this is what I did, and then how I acquired so much Bitcoin, like right away. I acquired Bitcoin for 3-4 years, and I'm going to tell you how. And then if you're young and you want to build wealth, and you're going to be like, and you want to be a multimillionaire, and you're gonna be like, for example, me, I'm a multimillionaire, and I sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm done, you know. But sometimes I have that eager desire to keep growing, and I want to be like million. I want to have $100 million. I want to feel comfortable, right? But before I even graduated from residency, I felt that eager desire because I freaking hate poverty because I grew up poor. I saw poverty my entire life. And I didn't even know that I was able to acquire so much of wealth or do so many acquisitions. But I have the eager desire inside of me, like a desperation, right? So when I discovered Bitcoin and then I thought about it, I was like, oh, nobody can steal it. So if I move to another country, I can like keep my Bitcoin with me. Oh, nobody can print any Bitcoin anymore. Boom, that's it. Boom. And then I understood the network, how the network works. Boom, that's it. So, and I saw Bitcoin as a way of escaping of sovereignty, have my own life and build my own future, and be sovereign, I felt like Bitcoin will protect me and protect my kids. I always thought I didn't even have a kid, but I'm thinking about my daughter and my son. How I'm gonna protect my kids, right? And I saw Bitcoin a way of protection, protect them, like a protection for them, right? So as soon as I graduated, I was making probably like roughly $20,000 a month. $20,000. People will say like, oh, $20,000 is a lot of money. Yes, it's a lot of money at that time for me because I didn't have any kid, didn't have any expensive. Because when you're poor, you gotta understand you gotta live small, right? Because when you graduate from residency, that's the time to make money. So if you're still in residency and then you're watching this video and then you're like, fuck, you gotta be ready because there's a strategy. You gotta create a strategy to acquire. I already told you, I have a video for you on my channel, how to acquire real estate for free. Don't ever buy real estate with money. Don't ever. You need to buy Bitcoin with money. If you ever had any cash, you gotta buy Bitcoin. You can leverage real estate with no money because real estate, it doesn't have like the good return in investments that we want, right? I already showed you in the graph. Bitcoin, it does. And it gives you liquidity. Real estate doesn't give you liquidity, right? Bitcoin is to be, real estate is to be whole. You hold Bitcoin for depreciation, and then it's a shield against inflation because it provides a debt package, a portfolio of debt. That's what you want, debt. But Bitcoin, it provides liquidity, right? So at that time, I was making $20,000 per month, not from exotic side hustle, just working my ass off in medicine. I was doing nights. I worked for 4 years. I did night shift. And instead of diversifying, like your financial advisor tells you that he charges you commission, that he drinks martini in Milan, and he goes to Saint Tropez, and he goes to Ibiza with your money, right? Instead of diversifying and waiting on the sidelines, I made the decision most will call insane. For 4 months, I bought Bitcoin 100%, $20,000 a month. Boom, boom, boom. At that time, I don't even remember how much was Bitcoin. No 401k, no real estate, no new car, no girls, no parties, no new computers, no subscriptions. Until today, I don't even have a Netflix subscription. Right? Because I have a strategy, because you gotta recognize you're fucking poor. When you're poor, you don't have the luxury of what rich people do. You just bought Bitcoin. I acquired probably $80,000. This is what I remember, right? So I acquired $80,000 on my first stretch. What I did, I found some platforms that you can go. There's multiple. I'm going to tell you the names, but you can just Google it. There's multiple platforms that you give them your Bitcoin, which is very risky because platforms can be hacked. Exchanges can be hacked, right? But I'm telling you, it's very risky, but I did it. So I give him my Bitcoins, and then I put a loan against my Bitcoin. I move that Bitcoin to a lending platform, and I pull $50,000 Bitcoin in a bull run. It was going up, growing at 200% a year, right? So that $80,000 that I bought probably was like 120 or something like that. So I pull $50,000 loan against my Bitcoin that I give him. And then I didn't sell my Bitcoin. I create a loan against it. When there's no sell, there's no capital gains taxes. So there's no taxes, just pure liquidity. And guess what I did with $50,000? I just bought more Bitcoin. Then I have that $50,000 that I purchased more Bitcoin. And then the next 3 months, I was just buying $20,000 every month. Pedal to the metal. Every month purchasing Bitcoin. Rice and beans, and buying Bitcoin, pedal to the metal. Right? Acquisition. Acquisition is the most masculine feature in the history of human beings. Right? Dictators, they love to conquer. Kings, they like to conquer land, acquiring land, right? So when you acquire Bitcoin, your depression is going to go away because you're going to have that sense of ownership, right? So pedal to the metal. I have $50,000 in Bitcoin more, plus I have $60,000 more in the another 3 months. So I have like $120,000 at that time, $130,000. Phase 4, second loan against my total stack. So by this point, I was sitting in close to $190,000 in Bitcoin for the second loan, right? Because the price was going up and up and up. But you gotta be careful. When you catch Bitcoin in a bull run, dude, you can become a millionaire right at the spot in 1 year. It's amazing. So, and the price doubled since the first buy. So I moved the whole stack and I pull another $60,000 in loan again. And then I bought more Bitcoin. And I did that 12 times in one cycle. And I use a platform, I'm going to give you a name, but there's multiple. But the time that I saw Bitcoin was getting hot, I had to liquidate some of my loans and cash out, right? And then I move some of my Bitcoins out, right? But if you ever grab Bitcoin in a bull run and you are able to do that strategy that I did, you can literally become a millionaire in just 1.5 years, 2 years, right? So Bitcoin always has this pattern that it is what it is, right? After the halving, which is a protocol that the network has, that it cuts its mining profits in half, right? Bitcoin have that tendency, like the first year, it goes down, it kind of consolidate, right? And poor people are forced to sell their Bitcoin. People who is massively levered, they're able to sell their Bitcoin and have like that 3 years that is just pure bull run. And then people keep acquiring. The demand is going up. The amount of wallets are going up. The network is getting stronger than ever. Companies are buying Bitcoin. Every day there's a new company that is buying more Bitcoin because it's the strongest asset, is literally the future. You have to own some Bitcoin. Remember, you're out of residency, right at the spot. You need to acquire real estate for free. Take it because it's for free. Debt will protect you. It's a shield against inflation. Don't buy your primary home. Buy real estate for rentals. You can buy a small house. Live in a small house. Save your money. Stack Bitcoin. Because that's going. If you suffer 4 years in your life, you're going to be free. You're going to be literally free forever. Trust me. Trust me. Medicine won't save your life. Medicine doesn't gonna make you rich. You're gonna feel today's day I make 300, 400,000 a year, and it's not even enough to survive. I can't imagine what it's gonna be for you in 10 years when you're recently graduated. In 5 years, what is gonna be 300, 400,000? It's gonna be nothing. Bitcoin today is $116,000. I think if you put an effort and then you create a strategy and you designate this amount of money to buy Bitcoin, you're gonna suffer 4 years, 3 years. But in 6 years and 7 years, you're gonna feel you're gonna have that sensation of ownership. That's what it really matters, and that's what I wish you to feel about it, because sovereignty is the most healthy. It will cure your depression, your desperation, and then you're gonna feel great, and then you just keep preaching the model, right? And I wish you the best. Like and subscribe, and then follow the next episode, because it's gonna be magnificent. I will show you beautiful numbers that it will protect you and protect your dreams.